What should a professional truck driver know before buying a CB radio? Hello, this is Vicki Simons with TruckDriversMoneySavingTips.com, and I'm going to be talking about CB radios, and I just happen to have one, the one that we used most recently in Mike's truck. I don't remember if we've ever had a different one or not, but this is the one that we bought. I don't even think this model of a Cobra is available anymore. This particular model says it's a 29WXNWST. All right, it does have ability to be seen at night when you turn it on. It does have 40 channels. I think we got that CB radio at a truck stop. But anyway, what do you need to know before you to buy one? Okay, when you're getting ready to buy a CB radio, hopefully you're going to have a lot of this stuff already combined in the box, but you're going to need to have the unit itself, the cables to connect the unit to your power system in your truck, the antennas, and then a microphone. And of course, microphones vary. Some guys like to have one of these retracting cables to where all they have to do is reach up, pull down, hold it, and then they let it go, and it just retracts. And it's not in their way, you know, dangling in their faces when they're driving. Okay, I already mentioned up to 40 channels. Actually, Mike and I had another set of handheld CB radios, and that's a whole nother issue if you want to talk about that. But that, if memory serves me correctly, that had fewer channels. But the reason why we used those was because sometimes when we were backing into a hole, it was always good to have somebody on the ground, say turn left, turn right, that kind of thing. But anyway, I'm talking about one that stays in your truck to be able to be used as a communications device, and that's why you buy a CB radio. All right, so some of these can have a weather band on them. I specifically recall riding through when Mike and I were team driving a very stormy night in Illinois, and had the weather band on the CB radio, and the guy was talking about the various counties that had tornadoes, okay? And it would have been fine if I had known which counties I was in, but I didn't, so the weather band didn't do me any good that particular night. It's kind of like, Lord, just please protect me as we're going through, and we didn't have any problems. But anyway, if you don't know the counties that you're in, the weather band may not help you. Okay, but then again, you know, if you know something's coming up, then that may help you. However, if you have a cell phone with, well, if you have a smartphone, okay, one that is able to have apps on it, some sort of applications, you might want to go ahead and simply install an app for weather. And Mike used his good bit when he was working in a local capacity, when he was hauling lumber. He's not hauling lumber anymore, but the thing was, because of the nature of the freight that he was hauling, he had to know whether or not there was going to be any kind of rain in the area, so that he would know whether or not he had to tarp the load. So that's why he kept that, and sometimes storms move in very quickly, but instead of using a CB radio with a weather band, he would use an app on his cell phone now. Okay, so do brands of CB radios matter? Some people will strongly prefer the Cobra brand simply because they're very well known. There are other brands out there, but obviously we chose a Cobra. We seem to think that they're the most common ones that are available at truck stops. However, let me caution you that when you buy any kind of electronic equipment, any kind of technology equipment at a truck stop, more than likely they're going to have a maximum time that you will be allowed to return that device. Okay, so for example, if they have like a 30-day return policy, bear in mind that if your unit tears up on the 31st or 32nd day, tough luck. Okay, you're out of success. All right, now I mentioned that you use it as a communications device. One of the things that you can use it for is when you are traveling in, say, winter weather, okay, and there's a lot of ice, potential, a lot of snow, potentially a lot of ice on the road. Then you can talk with drivers who are coming the other direction, and you want to be able to find out how the roads are, you know, what sort of situations you're going to be encountering. There were times when Mike and I had to shut down the truck, okay, because the weather was so bad. There may have been whiteout conditions, particularly going across Wyoming, and you can't see. You can't go anywhere, okay? Sometimes they actually literally close the interstate because the conditions are so bad. But when you I've got this thing down here, this little tip about listening before you talk. All right, there's a whole language, if you will, among professional truck drivers who are using CB radios. So a typical language, a typical scenario would be where someone gets on the CB radio and says, "Hey driver, what's it look like over your shoulder?" Okay, in other words, they want to know from where you just came, how are the road conditions? And if there are slick spots, you might say, well, it's a little greasy in places. Be careful, driver. Okay, a little greasy, meaning that there are slick spots out there. Okay, whatever they have observed. Okay, because they've just been there. Okay, they're able to share their observations with you. Okay, if there's some bad roads, if things are not in good shape, then you need to know about that, and that can help you. All right, you don't want to overbuy a CB radio. In other words, a good stock radio might work for you. The thing about it is that some shippers and receivers need to have a way of being able to communicate with you. So they may say, well, turn on channel 5 or turn on whatever, and we'll let you know when your load's ready, or what have you, okay? If you do not have a CB radio in your truck, or if you would prefer to be called on your cell phone, that is also an option with some of them. I can't say that for sure with all of the shippers and receivers out there. But I do know that sometimes when there's a long wait, okay, if you want to sleep, okay, while your trailer is being loaded, you might want to just turn off that squawk box, okay, and that's one of the terminologies that are used for a squawk box. There are also some additional add-ons and extras that you can get with a CB radio, and also if you're going to be getting some sort of a service done on your CB radio. Mike called that picking and tuning. It's basically the calibration that is done. I know one time he had some sort of work done on his CB, and it really helped him out. But when you are setting up your CB for the first time, you will want to follow the instructions that come with the unit to calibrate it. All right. Mike said that he also liked to use the Fire Stick brand of antenna. And, of course, you want to be following the advice that you're given when you buy these things so that you can get everything going. All right. Before I share my last tip, let me also caution you that some people have gotten into what Mike calls spitting and swearing matches on the CB radio. Basically, all they want to do is get on there and be ugly toward each other. In our way, that's not productive, and it does not help you to hear that kind of language. You want to edify and lift each other up if at all possible, and use it for good. Okay, use that for good. All right, so actually I have two tips to end with. If you've gotten value from this broadcast, this video, would you please do likes, shares, and hearts for me? I would really appreciate that. All right, so my first final tip is to watch for the sales. Okay, some of these truck stops routinely have sales on some of their electronic equipment. Bear in mind whether or not that sale is on a discontinued product. Okay, if it's being discontinued, you will not be able, more than likely, to turn that back in. Okay, and there's probably a reason why it's being discontinued, as in maybe the manufacturer isn't making that model anymore, etc., etc. So be careful when you buy something that's on a wild sale or discontinued sale. All right, the second thing that I would mention is be careful when you are, for example, roaming through a truck stop. Okay, I would recommend turning your CB radio off. Do not allow yourself to be distracted, and that's a secondary point on this. Do not allow yourself to be distracted when you're using the CB radio. Okay, it's a distraction just like anything else can be. The radio, putting in a CD, reaching for something to eat or drink. If just one unguarded moment, okay, even if you're reaching for the CB and you're talking, okay, it can be your undoing, and you could be not paying attention to something. Something could happen. Just be on your guard. All right, don't be distracted when you're using that. But especially when you're backing into a parking spot, all right, I would recommend that you turn off your CB radio and pay attention to what you're doing. All right, if you need to get out and look, Get out and look, okay? Don't just be on there and listening to somebody who's, for example, parked somewhere else and is on his CB and say, hey, driver. Okay, so just do not be distracted like that. Okay, that's my final tips about CB radios. So if you like this, if you've gotten value from it, please feel free to give me likes, hearts, and shares. If you have comments or questions, feel free to leave them with this broadcast, or you can get in touch with us through TruckDriversMoneySavingTips.com. I will ask you that if you have a CB radio that's worked well for you, please give us a product review on TruckDriversMoneySavingTips.com. There are various things that truckers need to know. Now, obviously, there are other sites out there that have reviews on them for various makes and models of CB radios, but, you know, we like that it's specifically used for professional truck drivers. So, that being said, my husband Mike and I wish you, as always, safe travels and lots of money-saving opportunities on the road. Have a great night. Thanks.